Hello everyone, today I want to show you a very old, quite rare, and in my opinion genuinely interesting scale model, a Maz truck tractor at 1/43 scale. This model dates back to the early 2000s and was made by the Belarusian workshop SMM, also known as scale model MAZ. It's worth noting that this workshop should not be confused with the modern Kostroma brand SSM or start scale models. They are two entirely different operations. Back in its time, SMM had a fairly wide range of MAZ trucks in its catalog, along with MZKT multi-axle vehicles and Belaz quarry dump trucks. I have a couple of models from this brand in my collection, and I'll be happy to show the others in future reviews. My personal journey with Super Maz models at 1/43 scale began in the mid-90s. My very first one was a Maz 5337 from Ansold, a red cab with a blue body. It's still in my collection to this day. The cab on that model was metal and composite, made up of 5 separate pieces: 2 sidewalls, a front section, a rear wall, and a roof, all glued together into one unit. Over time, the glue dried out and the cab cracked. At some point, I thought about taking it apart, stripping the old paint, re-gluing everything, and repainting it. But in the end, I decided to leave it as it is, to preserve its original authenticity. Speaking of old Super Maz models, there's another brand worth mentioning, Modus 90, which shares its roots with Ansold. The models from these two brands were slightly different from each other. Modus used a one-piece cast cab, which in my opinion had a rougher finish compared to Ansold's version. Unfortunately, I don't have a Modus model in my collection. As far as I can recall, at that time, only 3 body types were offered across both brands: a flatbed truck, a dump truck, and a tractor unit. When these companies eventually faded away, their tooling and developments were passed on to SMM. Interestingly, SMM's plastic components look very similar to those used on Ansold models, which suggests that either the casting molds were transferred or perhaps unsold spare parts changed hands. If anyone knows the precise history of these companies, I'd love to read about it. Now let's get into the actual review of this truck. It comes in a 2-part foam box, and on the lid there's an orange sticker depicting a Maz truck tractor. On the packaging it's labeled as Maz 5432, but the model actually has a day cab, which means the correct designation should be Maz 5433. The manufacturer didn't seem too concerned with that distinction. The photo on the box also shows a truck with an early style radiator grille, while the actual model inside has the later version. Another detail that wasn't updated: there's a manufacturer's website listed on the box as well, but it no longer works, so it's hard to say what was on it. Possibly a catalog of some kind. The box also states that this is a handmade model, though the packaging itself appears to be industrially produced, given how precisely the foam cutout is shaped. That kind of accuracy isn't really achievable by hand. Moving on to the model itself, it's quite heavy thanks to a metal frame painted black. The attachments are plastic, painted in the mold color, and the cab is cast from epoxy resin. Despite being an older model, the cab has surprisingly good geometry. The prototype is immediately recognizable, and the overall proportions fit the 1/43 scale quite well. That said, there are some things to note by modern standards. Many details are cast directly into the cab as one piece. Door handles, turn signals, windshield wipers, handrails, aerodynamic deflectors, and the radiator grille are all part of the same casting and simply highlighted with paint. From a distance it actually looks decent, but up close the simplification is obvious. The rear view mirrors are separate elements with metal stems and plastic housings, with the mirror surface painted silver. The cab interior is black and includes a steering wheel, a seat, and plastic glazing. Over time, the cab pillars have warped slightly and taken on a curved shape. This is a known characteristic of epoxy resin. Thin elements can shift and deform over the years, especially under tension. They haven't broken, which is genuinely good news. The Maz nameplate on the radiator grille is there, but it only loosely resembles the real thing. It's painted silver and shaped something like a boat outline, rather than the actual Maz lettering. Front and rear license plates are fitted, and there's a Republic of Belarus identification mark on the back. From what I know, all SMM workshop models came equipped with these red Belarusian plates as standard. The lighting details are handled reasonably well, with fog lights present, though as far as I know, fog lights were not a factory fitment on these trucks. The tires are quite convincing, and the wheel rims have a decent level of detail. Overall, for its era, the chassis is well executed. There's a drive shaft and exhaust pipe, and the cab tilts to reveal an engine underneath, a 6-cylinder AMZ 236, also made from plastic and painted in the mold color. Some parts have yellowed with age, as tends to happen. The fifth wheel coupling is functional. At the rear, the tail lights, reverse lights, and turn signals signals are all painted in, and there's a speed restriction plate as well. All things considered, this is a pretty charming old truck that can hold its own in a collection focused on retro models, but prices for these have climbed considerably, something like 8,000 to 9,000 rubles for a basic model like this one. If you're looking at a Belarusian dump truck or a multi-axle vehicle from SMM, the price can reach 25,000 rubles. At that level, there are certainly more affordable options available today with better detailing. Still, I have no plans to sell mine. It stays in the collection as a piece of history. I'd love to know what you think about the Maz 5433 tractor model from SMM in 1/43 scale. What Super Maz models do you have? Maybe you've got factory-produced models from Kostroma brands, Autoistoraya, or Start Scale models, or perhaps one from a magazine series. Maybe you've built a kit from AVD models, or even commissioned a one-off handmade model. Whatever the case, feel free to share. It's always great to hear from fellow collectors.